with one of your sporting accolades or a speech, something that's given them a lasting sort of reminder, a lasting testament that's helped them in their lives. And have you got anybody like that? Anyone that you remember from, you know, a book or a film that does the same thing? Because everybody will have a memory here.
Well, I mean, I think that the person that has had one of the coolest one-liners was Clint Eastwood, right?
Yeah.
And he said, "Make my day."
Yeah.
That's of course with the German accent now. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think...
Can you remember the day that you picked up your first barbell? Can you remember it?
Oh yeah. You don't forget that, because I remember that I had friends that invited me to come to the weightlifting club, and they showed me, you know, how to do chin-ups, how to do bench press, how to do squats, how to do bend over rowing, how to do deadlifts and this and that. And so I went around for like an hour and a half and 2 hours in the gym doing exercises, and I was fascinated by this whole experience. And it felt great. You know, I really felt pumped up, and it was feeling strong, and it felt good. And I was just amazed of how much knowledge they had and everything. But then afterwards, I rode home with my bicycle. And I remember that I literally rode off the road into a ditch and just fell over. Because I lost the feeling in my hands. And I lost the feeling in my arms. I swear, I did obviously too much. The first time when you go to the gym, you should maybe just do 15, 20 minutes. I always tell people, take it easy, just do 1 set or 2 sets of the body part, but don't do too much. And always, because I remember that experience. I was numb. I couldn't feel anything. I was just bicycling, and then the next thing I was just going off the side. I had no control over my body. And so then I crawled out of the ditch there with the bicycle, and then went on. And then literally for the last, mile or so, I had to push the bicycle. I couldn't ride it anymore. I had no feelings. So so that's why I remember it so well, that first day of training. But I remember that it made me so excited about discovering something new that I felt was kind of like my thing. This movie, I mean, when it came out, it went right into the toilet. So thank you very much for applauding a little bit. But it was, I have to say that I don't ever shy away from failing. Because it was a failure, the movie, but it was a good stepping stone for me. I learned what is important, that I need to work on my acting. Yes. I needed to work on my English language. This was 1969. I just came to America. I barely spoke English. So I needed to really work on my English language, on my pronunciation, enunciation, on the accent removal, and all of those kind of things I had to work on. 5 hours a day, just like I worked on bodybuilding 5 hours a day. I had to work on that 5 hours a day. And then when I did that, I broke through and it happened.
I think, when I was talking to Sylvester, he did actually say that he thinks with the way he speaks and the way you did, you should have a language school. That's his suggestion. I don't know whether you want to have a chat with him about that later, but he thought that would be quite an interesting thing to do. But he's
very funny. I have a whole bedroom wall decorated with Bodybuilding Champions, with Reg Park, Adrian Harris, Brad Harris, Steve Reeves, all those guys, and then also boxers like Sandy Liston, Muhammad Ali, and all those guys. It was like really fantastic. It was all different athletes, and I remember that my mother was very concerned.
Yeah.
Because my mother, she looked at this bedroom wall, and she said, "I don't understand it." And she literally called our house doctor. That was one of the rarities in the old days where the doctor came to your house. That's the day no one does it anymore. You have to go with a wheelbarrow to the doctor's office or whatever, however you get there. Yeah. But I remember the doctor came to our house, and I said, "What is he doing here? Nothing wrong with me." And my mother, showed him the bedroom wall. She says, "You got to look at that." And he looked at it and he says, yes. And she said, I don't know where I went wrong, doctor. She says, Arnold's friends have above their bedroom, above their bed, girls. And my son has only naked man above the bed. I says, where did I go wrong? And so she said, should I worry about him? You know, she thought that I'm turning gay or something like that. And I don't know what concerns she had. I have no idea, but I mean, she said, should I be concerned about him? And he, luckily, was a very smart guy. He said to him, he says, no, there's nothing wrong with that. These are his idols. I said, when a boy becomes still like 13, 14, 15, they have idols, and they want to be strong men, and they want to be muscular, and they want to become a man, and all that. This is all good stuff, he says. These are inspirations. There's nothing negative up here on the wall. So anyway, so my mother was relieved after that. She was very, very happy.
Bittersweet childhood, if I'm, you know, there were good things and bad things, but for you, I think days around that lake, is it Tallahassee Lake, seemed to be where you were introduced into being an athlete and just living life and having fun.
Well, I mean, I had an interesting kind of an upbringing, because when I was a kid, I wasn't very happy being in Austria. And I grew up after the Second World War, and we were occupied actually by the British, our section of Austria. Styria, and so there was very little food around. It was poverty. It was after the war. The men all kind of were very, very pissed off that they lost the war, and so there was a lot of drinking going on, a lot of brutality and stuff like that. The kids were beaten when we did something wrong. So it was that kind of an upbringing, you know. So it was really rough. But at the same time, when I look back now, I said to myself, it was great that I grew up like that, because that's what made me hungry. Yeah. That's what gave me the desire. That's what gave me the willpower.
But what was it about Franco? What was it that, you know, means that now, you know, it's over 50 years that you had that amazing friendship?
Well, I met Franco when I was 18 years old. And I met him in Stuttgart in Germany. I was competing in the Junior Mr. Europe competition, in the Best Built Man of Europe competition, in the junior division. I was 18. And Franco was competing in the powerlifting championships in the lightweight division. So he won the lightweight division and became the European champion. I won my division, the junior championships of Europe in bodybuilding. So we were standing up there on the stage together with another fellow in the heavyweight division, so about 4 of us standing up there on the stage. And I started talking to Franco, and then I said to him, you know, I really admire your strength. It's fantastic what you did. Notice, where do you live and where do you train? And he was telling me that he was living in Munich and training in Munich. And I said to him, well, after I'm through with my military service, I want to come to Munich. I said, maybe we can become training partners. And so this was kind of like our agreement that when I come to Munich, I will be training with him. And so when I went to Munich, I started training with him. And the bottom line was we were a great partnership, because he admired the muscles that I had, and I admired the strength he had. And so he started getting more and more into bodybuilding, and I started getting more and more into powerlifting. And so he really helped me so that I could deadlift eventually 710 pounds. I never could deadlift as much as he could deadlift.
So it was a great partnership.
But you know, then our friendship, then he started competing, and he became Mr. Europe and Mr. Universe, and then we started competing against each other for years in bodybuilding, and you know, we helped each other, we were training partners. And so he was just a very unique person